Pascal Siakam is an Indiana Pacer now. Knew the trade was coming. Didn't really think it would be to Indiana, but let's talk about it. Pascal was traded in a three-teamer with the Pacers, the Pelicans, and obviously the Raptors. It's kind of a three-teamer. The Pacers traded cash considerations for a second-rounder and Kira Lewis Jr., who the Pelicans offloaded because they were over luxury tax and they have a lot of guard depth. You know, they just wanted to get rid of him, free up some space for some guys, free up some money. Then the Pacers immediately went and flipped him to Toronto, and they packaged Bruce Brown and Jordan Nwora with him to get Pascal Siakam. They also gave up 3 first-round picks, which is a bit interesting. My first reaction was 3 first-round picks for Pascal Siakam. That's a lot. Paid a lot. But then I looked into the picks. 2 of them are in the 2024 draft, this upcoming one, which I think is a good thing for both teams because the Pacers are going to be good, right? One of the picks is their own pick. They're the 6th seed in the East right now. They're not going to be a lottery team. It's a late pick, not super valuable. The other one is the worst pick between either Oklahoma City or what's the team called? They have Paul George, the Clippers, LA Clippers. And they're also both playoff teams. So, I mean, no matter which way you spin it, neither of those picks were going to be valuable. And on top of that, the Pacers have Halliburton. They want to win now. So they gave up a 2026 pick. They have Halliburton for 4 years. Doesn't really matter. And I think it's interesting for the Raptors on their side of things because, I mean, the Raptors are rebuilding, so getting picks is good, but those picks aren't very valuable, and they don't have their own pick. They traded their own pick for Jakob Poeltl because they thought they were going to be winning and be good now, but that didn't really work out for them. So it looks like they're trending towards, I don't want to say a full, just straight-up rebuild, but I mean like a retooling and kind of aiming a couple years down the line for Scotty Barnes and kind of trying to build around him. You know, they brought in new players with the first trade that they did for OG when they got RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley, who, you know, Emmanuel Quickley has been thriving there. RJ Barrett is kind of the exact same, but Emmanuel Quickley has been doing really well. They have his rights in free agency. They're most likely going to re-sign him. So that's good for them. And then they have these picks they can get. They draft pretty well. They drafted OG Anunoby with like the 23rd overall pick. So, I mean, you know, I'm sure they can find someone. But the chances of that aren't super likely. But, you know, a pick is a pick, and that's good. They also got Bruce Brown out of that. They can see if he fits their timeline because he's on an option. I don't remember if it's a player or a team option. I'm pretty sure it's a team option, but he's on an option. It's a 2-year contract, so at the end of this season, they can let him walk or they can re-sign him, depending on how things are going. So that's good for them. They got Jordan Nwora and Kira Lewis Jr. Kira Lewis Jr. can shoot. I like him. He's okay. There's better, but there's definitely worse, and he's young. You know, he can develop. He's a serviceable guy. They can throw in some minutes for him. They can find something. And then they have Jordan Nwora, who's a wing. They love wings, and I like wings of Jordan Nwora's archetype, ones that, you know, they're capable defenders, they can create for themselves, at least a little bit, and, yeah, so I don't hate this trade for the Raptors. It's not my favorite, but, I mean, they did what they could. If they had traded Pascal earlier, then I'm sure they would have gotten a lot more. They just didn't. They sat on it, waited till the end of his deal, and this is what they got. They're lucky to get 3 first-round picks, and that kind of sets the market value for him, actually, for the trade deadline, because we're 2 weeks away from it now. You got 3 picks for a guy in an expiring deal. What are you going to get for DeJounte Murray, for Zach LaVine, for maybe DeMar DeRozan? Probably not much for him, but, you know, I'm excited to see how things pan out after this trade, because, you know, it was interesting. One thing that I also thought was interesting, I almost forgot to mention, I had to look at my notes. They didn't get Benedict Mathurin, and they didn't get Jarris Walker, who I thought, like, if Pascal was going to the Pacers, I 100% thought one of those 2 dudes was going to be in it. So that's a big win for the Pacers, and not the best move for the Raptors. But if you really think about it, like, Benedict Mathurin is kind of up and down. He's on a roller coaster, and he's doing okay this year. Jarris Walker hasn't really been getting minutes. When he does get minutes, he's really, really good, but he just hasn't been given an opportunity yet. I'm interested to see how he's going to fit with Pascal in, because I'm sure that takes more minutes away from him, his already small, slim amount of playing time. So we'll see how that goes, but I really thought they were going to get one of them in the trade, and they didn't. And it's not the end of the world. Again, they got the 3 picks, but you would like to see, you know, maybe some more young guys. They did get their players with the Knicks trade that they did earlier, but still, it would have been nice. Just a better return overall. Now, as far as the Pacers go, I really, really love this move for them. Pascal fits perfectly. The Pacers run in transition, and Pascal runs in transition. What more could you ask for? That's a match made in heaven. And on top of that, the Pacers need defense. They traded away Bruce Brown, who they brought in this offseason. He was supposed to help their defense. Their defense is pretty much the same. It didn't really change much. But one thing that's really glaring is they just have Miles Turner. They can't rebound. They don't really have size. They can't stop anyone from getting to the rim. So bring in Pascal Siakam, ship out Bruce Brown, and on top of that, you're getting rid of Bruce Brown's contract, right? So you can re-sign Pascal Siakam in the offseason. Smart, big brain move, man. I would have never thought of that if I was a GM. That's probably why I'm not a GM, among other reasons. But regardless, that's still a pretty good move. I do like that for them. And it looks likely that they're going to be able to re-sign and retain Pascal. So that's also another positive. On top of that, depending on how much they end up paying Pascal Siakam, and if they do, retain him, it's still a big what if, but it looks likely that they will be able to. But let's say they do, they give him like 30 mil, right? They still have a little bit of money left over. A bunch of stars want to play with Tyrese Halliburton because it's fast-paced, they get to score, they get to do whatever they want, just run and play offense. And, Tyrese is incredibly unselfish. Super unselfish. I mean, I heard rumors that Paul George might want to go there. I doubt it. But he might want to go back to Indiana. He likes it there. So that would be fun. I'm really excited to see how this move works out for the Pacers because I really like Pascal. And when he was on the Raptors, they're very obviously not the best team. That's why they're trading him mid-season, obviously. And they didn't really have great spacing. They had worse spacing bringing in RJ Barrett. So that wasn't really good for Pascal. I'm sure he's excited to get out of there and play with Halliburton, who can shoot that thing. And then you got Buddy Hield, who can also stroke that thing. Pause. And, Siakam likes to get to that low block, spin around, work in the paint a little bit. And now he has space to do that. And he has a Miles Turner who can help him. He has a Halliburton who averages 12 assists right now. He's going to get him the ball. And Siakam also is really, really good in transition. And the Pacers, all they do is run in transition. They don't even like half-court offense. They just want to score in transition. So that's good for Pascal. I'm excited to see how that works out for him. And on top of that, he's really good on defense. He can provide rebounding. He's an all-NBA caliber player. He's going to give you 22, 23 a night, along with 6 to 8 rebounds. And, he's not a cone on defense. And that's really one thing that the Pacers were lacking, because they have one of the worst defenses in the league. They do have a record-setting offense. They literally have the best offense in NBA history. And granted, every year a new team has the best offense in NBA history. That's just the way offense is going nowadays. But regardless of that, they're going to have to stop something on the other end of the ball, right? Because you can get outscored any night. It's the NBA. Offense is crazy. So I think the Pascal addition really does help there. And it alleviates some stress off Miles Turner and, him having to do everything down low. Because he is injury prone, so just, getting another big in there who can kind of just, he doesn't have to stress as much. He can relax. He can play a little bit better in drop coverage. If he plays up, he knows he has Pascal behind him. And, yeah. So, all in all, I'll give the Raptors a C+ for this move, just because I like that they got 3 picks for him, even though they aren't the most valuable picks. I like they got picks for him, and they didn't just sit on him like they did with Fred VanVleet and lose him in free agency. They were proactive this time instead of reactive. And, honestly, oh, my lights just flashed. I wish I could give the Pacers a high. Stop. I think it's dying. Oh my gosh. What is happening? Alright, they're just off now. But I wish I could give the Pacers a higher grade than an A, because this is a great move for them. I don't see it going bad. I mean, it could go bad, nothing is ever perfect, but I think it's a great move for them. I think it makes them better. I think progressing in the playoffs, getting into the playoffs, having a guy that, not having to rely on Halliburton to be the only guy creating offense for you is going to be a really good thing for them, because without Halliburton, they're not very good. They can't score, they could never defend. So if you can't score and you can't defend, you're not going to win. So in the playoffs, when the game slows down, you hunt those mismatches. Halliburton is going to have a little a weight off his shoulders because he has a guy that can create for himself now. And he doesn't have to rely on Benedict Mathurin having a good night or Buddy Hield hitting his threes. He can be like Pascal. He knows what Pascal's going to do. You know what Halliburton's going to do. You know what Miles Turner is going to do. He's averaging about 17 right now. I think 10, 11 rebounds. So, I mean, they have a good big three. Do I think it's championship worthy? Definitely not. But do I think they're trending in the right direction? Yes, 100%. They get Pascal, age 29, he's not too old. He's under contract, they're going to re-sign him hopefully, and he'll be under contract for a couple more years. And they'll have him in the early years of his 30s. That's kind of when you want to get guys going into their 30s around. You want to sign them when they're 29, 30, so you get them to their 33, 34, 35-ish. Because that's when most players start to regress, unless you're like Kevin Durant or LeBron James or Steph Curry. But most people aren't them, so that's good. But I love this move for them. I like it for both teams. I would like it a little bit more for the Raptors if they got Jarris Walker, because I was high on Jarris Walker in the draft. He was probably my favorite prospect, to be honest. I'm really upset he isn't getting that many minutes. But that's besides the point. C+ for the Raptors, A+++++++ for the Pacers, not Pelicans. And yeah, see you guys later.